Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. One question that we could ask regarding showing off is, if my act of worship is done for other than Allah, in terms of I show off in that action for other than Allah, then is my act of worship accepted? Now here we have to look at the different situations. If the showing off takes place from the foundation of the act of worship, meaning you have not got up to do the act of worship except to show off. You saw somebody and you said, you know what, let me show off to him and let him think good of me, so I'll pray. Then it is not accepted. If the showing off comes after the worship, you finish the worship and then afterwards maybe you mentioned it to somebody, then bi'idhnillah it will be accepted, but you will gain sin for the showing off that takes place later on. How about if a person, he starts the action and then the issue or the intention of showing off comes later? We've talked about before and we've talked about after. What about during the action? If a person gets up to do a good action, a good deed for the sake of Allah, and then the intention of showing off comes in, firstly, if a person fights that whisper of shaitan and continues praying for Allah, then even if he was showing off for a few seconds or whatever the case may be, that will not harm a person. However, if the intention of showing off comes in during the act of worship and he does not fight it, and it remains with him throughout the rest of the act of worship, then it depends. If the act of worship is all connected, such as salah, then it is not accepted. But if the act of worship has different parts, like Hajj has so many different parts. We have being at Mina, we have the throwing the pebbles, we have cutting the hair. So all of these are different actions. If these separate actions are, they are not connected, then only that action which is by itself, that will not be accepted. However, the other actions will be accepted, inshallah. So this is a quick summary we talked about before, after and during, and then depending on where this intention would fall, that's the ruling of that act of worship.